All right, here we are with 12.2 day 2. Here are the answers to day 1. You had to determine whether the equations were direct variation equations or not, and then you had to do some graphs. Now, the book will, of course, always choose numbers different than I do. And so for a couple of these, I've made my own tables on what I think would be better input values for you guys. And here I choose -4, and it'd be 1/2. So just my take on things. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to write inverse variation equations today, given some information. So that's going to be our task for the day. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this. All right, so the problem says the variables x and y vary inversely, and y equals 6 when x equals -3. Write an inverse variation equation that relates x and y. I'm gonna hide the answer here, and then go through with you guys, and then find the value of y when x equals 4. So part A, here's what you're gonna do. We have y equals a divided by x. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your y value, plug it in, take your x value, plug it in, and then solve for a. So 6 equals a divided by -3. Multiply both sides by -3, and you get a equals -18. So the equation is y equals -18 divided by a. That's your answer for part A. Then for part B, it says to find the value of y when x equals 4. So just take 4, plug it in. I did something wrong here. What did I do wrong? Oh, that should just mean x. Oops. I was like, something does not look right there. We're just going to take 4, plug it in. So -18 divided by 4 is -9/2, or -4.5. So that would be your answer for part B. Okay, so here's another one that's very similar to it. Again, we're just going to start with y equals a divided by x, and plug in a, plug in x, multiply by 12, -24. So y equals -24 divided by x. And then you can just plug in -3 for part B, and -24 divided by -3 is 8. So those are your two answers to that question there. Now, what you can do is figure out, based off a table, if the equation is an inverse variation equation. By multiplying both sides by x, you end up with x, y equals a. This means that any set of ordered pairs will show inverse variation if the product is constant. I know that sounds very complicated and very technical. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to multiply the x, y pairs together. You're just going to multiply those all together. And you end up with -12, -12, -12, -12. And if you use the calculator for that one, you end up with -12 as well. And so what you see is this is an inverse variation equation. And then we know that since xy equals a, this is a. A is -12 for all of them. So your equation is y equals -12 divided by x. And it's that simple. So that's what you can do. You just multiply the x, y pairs and see if it works. So here, this one, they give you ordered pairs. They don't give you a table, but they give you a bunch of ordered pairs. So if I multiply them all together, and it so happens they equal -10 for each pair. So your equation is y equals -10 divided by x. Nice and simple for you guys. And then finally, we end up with a word problem. And there's going to be a couple word problems. A theater company plans to hire people to build a stage. So this is where you might see some applications to it. The work time, T in hours per person, varies inversely. So they're telling us it's an inverse variation equation with the number of P. P is the number of people hired. The company estimates that 25 people working for 300 hours each can complete the job. Find the work time per person if the company hires 300 people or 30 people. The idea is the more people you have, the less time. The less people you have, the more time per person. Okay, and that's the idea of inverse variations. One thing goes up, the other thing goes down. Okay, so what we have going on in here is we have y equals, so the first thing Actually, it says the time. So time inversely with the number of people. So it says the work time T in hours per person varies inversely with the number of people. So that's the equation that I'm going after here. So with 25 people, it takes 300 hours. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out what A is. So 300 equals A divided by 25. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply both sides by 25 to figure out what A is. Okay, so A equals 7,500. Now what I'm going to do is write my equation. So this is the actual equation. Okay, so now they're telling me, what if we have 25 people? Or no, sorry, 30 people. So we're plugging 30 in for P. So 7,500 divided by 30. And that's going to tell me how many hours. So 250 hours per person, and that would be your answer there. So you can see a word problem or two like this in your homework. They're kind of fun. And that's all I got for you guys. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and thank you for tuning in to day 2.